Just I hope you are all able to see my screen.
Yeah, clear.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So today's session is I'm going to keep my agenda like I'm going to explain you what are the important jargons, important aspects or important terminologies or important steps which you have to go through moving from idea to startup. The agenda is innovation, idea generation, assessment, how to identify the target segment, how to segment the market, how to size them, how to analyze the environment, industry and competitor analysis, legal structure and its type. For say, if you are planning to start a company, what are the legal structures which are available as of now in India, and what are the different type of funding schemes available, and I'll also throw very small light on business plan and pitches. I know from the topic I'm very greedy, but still I'll try to cover up the important juice of all these topics. Each and every topic mentioned here can be dealt in a 1 day or 2 day workshop. Innovation. Being a typical academician, we always have a lot of definition for innovation. Always innovation is something which is path breaking. It could be evolutionary. It could be revolutionary. We can come up with a lot of academic definition for innovation. But when it comes to the entrepreneurial world, innovation is something where, or innovation is defined when somebody is ready to buy your product. That's all. Or somebody is ready to take your idea. In a formal way, the process of translating an idea or invention into a good or service that creates value or for which customers will pay. If you have a customer, then you can go ahead and you can call that as an innovation. That's it. You may not agree with me, but in an entrepreneurial journey or in an entrepreneurial world, this is what innovation is all about. When I have a customer, yes, I can go ahead and I can do innovation. And if you look at innovation, majorly innovation can be categorized into two criteria, or even the entrepreneurial ideas can be categorized into two criteria. One is need, another one is want. If I want to put it in a very simple logic, need is milk. Yes, milk gives us calcium, protein, vitamins, and so on. So milk is need. Want is Horlicks or Boost. And again, from the picture, you can understand which one is a need and which one is a want. Here again, please don't misquote me that I'm trying to say that we should always focus on need. See, but I know சொல்ல வரேன்னா need, want, இது ரெண்டு தான் மார்க்கெட்ல இருக்கிற two important things. If you address the need, the chances of getting success is very high. If you address the want, the chances may not be so high like need, but still you have a chance. Okay, how can I quote it? அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, you look at the want. From the picture itself, you can understand it is nothing but Apple phones, yeah, Apple products. Do we really want it? Yes, it's a subjective answer. Apple products or iPhones have become status of our symbols. So some category of people, if you look at the earlier growth of Apple phones, it was all held by rich people, film stars, sports personalities, and so on. But slowly, the Apple positioned itself as a value addition, or it positioned itself as a luxury item or status symbol. So people went for it. So the need and want, you should always ask your inner whether what are you trying to address? Are you going to address need or are you going to address the want? If you go deep into this analogy, the need can also be artificially created. If I want to quote an example, Ola cabs. Ola cab வந்து நம்ம யோசிச்சே பார்க்கல இல்லையா? Nobody thought that we require a cab services. We were all comfortably, see, though we had problems, we were all able to commute in the town buses or commute in the corporation buses, or otherwise we used to commute in our vehicles. But this was created and they showed us that there is a demand for it, and they captured that market. So that's where creating a need and so on. So I'm not going deep into it. Always try to find out what are you trying to address in your entrepreneurial journey. Are you addressing the need or are you addressing the want? How to identify an idea? The first step before starting a new company is to find a right idea. The best way to arrive at a good startup idea is don't think up new startup ideas. That may not be always the right way. Please, again, these are all subjective. That may not be always the right one to always come up with the new things. The ideal way is to look for the problems and needs, preferably problems and needs you have faced yourself. That is the first criteria. If you have faced some problem and if you feel like there need to be some solution for it, go for it. That's a good idea where you can catch on it. Alternatively, it could be something you have seen other people or your friends or family face regularly. So these are all the two important criteria. Is there really a problem exist, and do we need to address that? That's it. How can we identify the idea? See, it is always better to work on such problems. Which problems? Which the problems which you have faced yourself, or whether your friends or families have faced. The first and foremost is ensure that the problem really exists. Don't imagine that the problem exists. Talk to the stakeholder. Try to understand whether is it a problem. First thing, you have to ensure whether is it a problem. Second thing, is it a real problem? Third thing, is it required to be solved? So you try to find the answer for all these things, you'll get a good problem. It sounds obvious to say that you should only work on problems that exist. Yes, sometimes you may also work on problem which you may anticipate, which you may encounter. For example, again, if I want to quote an example, take up this forum, Zoom. Before this pandemic, Zoom was nowhere. No, now you see they are close to become a unicorn. So, this happened naturally, or I would say this happened due to the market demand. They didn't do anything. Zoom did not create this pandemic, but they were smart enough to use this pandemic and they stabilized themselves in the market. Your aim is to solve that problem exists. That's where again I am coming. Try to solve a pain point that individual or businesses face, which can help you arrive at venture idea. This pain point is nothing but, in the marketing terminology, they call it as a pain point. In our academic fraternity, we call it as a problem. My dear friends, again and again I quote this: no solution is better than the problem. Always the problem is bigger than the solution. So you should, if you identify the problem properly, you have crossed 75% of the well. Okay, so please do pay attention to the problem statement. That's where the success or the emphasis of your company's success lies, not in the solution. Solution will come, it will fall in your way, but the problem needs to be categorized properly. I'm not explaining all these use cases. I'll just take one or two. You can take this Red Bus. The Panindra Sharma was the founder of Red Bus. It all happened on one single day, no? If you look at Panindra Sharma case, he was standing in a Bengaluru bus stand and he was supposed to board a bus to Hyderabad. To his irony, he found that spaces are vacant in the bus and buses were going vacant, but he could not get a ticket. When he approached an agent, he said he has sold all his ticket and he pointed out to the next agent. And by this, he went to the 13th agent. Even then, he was not successful in getting a ticket and he was able to board the bus only on the next day morning. This, this is again, I'm trying to align this with the earlier slide. This is the pain point which Panindra faced, the founder of Red Bus. So he took this as a pain point. He understood there is a problem. See, the problem here is bus இருக்கு, சீட்ஸும் வேக்கண்டா இருக்கு, ஆனா ஏஜென்ட்ஸ் உடைய coordination இல்லாதனால they are not able to sell the tickets. Ultimately, both the segments gets affected. The passenger segments also get affected, as well the bus owners or the so-called bus operators are also getting affected. So he wanted to solve this issue. That's where the Red Bus was born. Again, Savan, you can see, you think about watching a movie coming out and there may be a pep song in that movie. You want to hear it again? Okay. See, nowadays we have the emergence of this FM market is high. You can hear the songs in the FM or TV. In case you take some time back, there were no dedicated music apps which were available in the Indian market. And particularly, the Asian market is the place where, you all know, the Hollywood movies will never have a song because culturally we were brought up where songs are part of our culture. So they wanted to address that pain point. Someone wants to listen to that song, he doesn't have any avenue. So what they did, they came up with this app called Savan. Now you know, most commonly you would have heard about Spotify. YouTube has come up with the YouTube Music and so on. And Freshdesk, again, Girish Matrabhudam's story is a very unique story. He was working in US. He came to India. He purchased a TV in US, but he didn't unpack there. So once he landed in Bengaluru here, he unpacked it. To his surprise, the TV did not work. So he tried to contact the customer care. You all know what is the pain of reaching out to customer care. He was not able to reach to the customer care at all, and he was not ready to leave that. And from there, he started. He posted. The same feedback in the blogs, Instagram, and other places. Immediately, the CEO of that TV manufacturing company contacted him, and they resolved the issue. So this was the pain point which was faced by Girish Matrabhudam. From there, he thought there is a lack in the customer and the manufacturer, that there was some gap. So he wanted to fill that gap. How optimize we can make this customer care unit so that both the sector are able to interface or exchange views or ideas or exchange their issues comfortably. That's where he started Fresh Work, and then it converted into Freshdesk. And I know if you are for watching news, you would have known that it was recently listed in the IPO in the US New York stock market. Okay, you have got an idea how to assess that. Identifying the problem or the pain point which you are trying to solve is important step in validating your idea. That's what we saw. You want to be able to clearly express a problem that you or others are experiencing regularly. See, you should be able to write down the problem that you are solving in a simple statement. That's very, very, very important. I'll touch upon that in the tail end of the presentation. What are the ways in which you can assess your idea? These are all some common suggestions. What is the pain point are you trying to solve? Is it a larger one or is it a critical one? For example, if you are trying to solve a pain point of, you can take an ideal use case of Ola cabs. The Ola cab, only 5% of the Indians are car owners. Or maybe this data, what I'm saying, 5% is 2020. Now it would have increased up to 6 to 7%. Even now, it is less than 10%. So that is the point. That is the point where what made Ola to prosper into the market. Critical. You take healthcare examples. Is it a real critical issue? Do we need to come up with the new dose? Again, I need not to say the common example are Covaxin and Covishield. They were critical. They were the critical pain points, and you know what markets they occupied. Who are you solving it for? You should also try to understand whom are you trying to target. To whom are you going to focus this solution or the problem? How are you trying to solve it? Here where the value proposition comes. Value proposition is very important. How are you trying to solve it? What method are you going to solve this problem? Is anyone else doing it? Again, you are trying to analyze who are all the competitors around you. How are they doing it? How can you do it differently? Can you do it differently from them? Can you charge your customer? Okay, see, even today, Google doesn't charge us. Even today, Facebook doesn't charge us. Even today, Instagram doesn't charge us. But you all know how they make money out of our data. I need not to explain. You would have come across a lot of stories. Again, if you have not seen, I recommend you to watch Sundar Pichai's explanation about Google's intrusion into privacy in the Singapore Parliament as well as in the UK Parliament. You can look at his speech. Can you charge your customer? If so, how much? How much can you charge? That's where the example, Urban Clap and Ola Cab. I'll come to this Urban Clap. So far, I said about pain point, I said about target audience, and I said about solution. We will take this Urban Clap as a use case, and we will try to see how they have addressed all these factors. I hope all of you are aware of Urban Clap. Urban Clapனா ஒன்றும் இல்லை, ஒரு ஆப். அங்கே வந்து நீங்கள் என்னென்னலாம் சர்வீஸ், ஹோம் சர்வீஸ் வேணுமோ அதெல்லாம் எடுத்துக்கலாம். ஸ்டார்டிங் ஃப்ரம் காலிங் அ பார்பர், plumber, electrician, vehicle repair, or anything you say, beauticians, anything is available in the Urban Clap. I hope most of you are aware of it. What was the pain point they identified? Fragmented local industry. See, இதுக்கு முன்னாடி இவங்கெல்லாம் இல்லவே இல்லையானா, yes, they were all there. Plumber was there, electrician was there, vehicle repair people were there, எல்லாமே workshops were there, everything were fragmented. Lack of standardization. Okay, there was no standardization. I know one salon they will charge 150 for haircutting. Another salon they will charge 200 for haircutting, and so on. I mean, அவங்க அதுக்குள்ள வந்து they will have a various standards and various costs. Lack of convenience. I need to reach out to each and every one of them separately. Lack of trust. I don't know. See, my friend may give me a number. If I'm new to that place, if I ask someone to refer me an electrician, I don't know whether he's a trustable guy or not. I have to allow him inside my house to the extent where I need to allow him to visit my bedrooms. So lack of trust was a pain point. These are all the pain points which Urban Club listed. And what they did, they try to understand who are their target audience. Working professionals, people new in the city, the people who face problem in finding the technicians, and people who are suffering from delayed solution. These are all the target audience whom they were planning to attack. See, this urban club may not be a successful one if you take it to the village, remote village, because there may not be any necessity for this urban club there. So that is what you have to categorize on your target audience. Then comes solution. What did they try to do? They were trying to standardize the market, quality review of listed professional. If the review is bad, he will not be given the next assignment. Convenience from information to booking. You can provide what is your problem. You can book the technician. He will come and serve. You can pay. You need not even pay him single penny. You can transfer the money in the digital payment mode. You can also give the review for him. If there is too negative review, he will not be considered for the next service. And before they launched, they also analyzed who are the competitors available in the market. There was local OA, Just Dial, Suleka. You remember? If I want to know the plumber's number, I can go to Just Dial or Suleka. But they were all restricted only to providing us the contact numbers. They didn't do anything beyond this. That's where the value proposition of Urban Club comes into picture, and that's how they position themselves as a big market player. Now we are seeing a lot of competitors for Urban Club, but when they were launched in the market, they were one of its kind, So very importantly, understand your target segment. You have to clearly identify who is your target customer. For example, again, if you take another two examples, Indigo Airline. Indigo Airline, they position themselves as an airline where they will be targeting the middle class people. That was their tag. That's how they position themselves. And again, there are interesting stories how Indigo Airline is making profit. They will never if you look at the airport related issues, அதுல நீங்க ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்டான எக்ஸ்பென்சஸ் எங்க நடக்கும் அப்படின்னா when you put the plane in a waiting state in the airport, you have to pay huge rent. Okay, so Indigo act in such a way that you will see their flights will not be halted for more time in the airport at all. That is the strategy which they follow to make profit. So adula profit generate panni, what they are doing, they are compromising in the ticket price. So they position themselves as a air services targeting towards middle income group. So that's their target customer. IAM jobs. There is a portal for IAM jobs. There are a lot of job portals available, Naukri, Job Seeker, and many portals are available. But this IAM jobs, how they position themselves, they said only the niche elite jobs will be listed in their websites. And then people coming out of IAM, people coming out of IIT, they were trying to register and they were trying to look out for the jobs. So their target segment was niche people, elite job roles, or for say, in our college, we colloquially call it as a marquee offer and dream offers like. So on the dream offers, on the marquee jobs, for say the minimum CTC job, the minimum CTC of the job posted there should be more than 15 CTC, 15 lakh or 20 lakh or 25 lakh. So the premium jobs, they said that they are going to serve only those sector, and that is their target segment. So likewise, before you start up, defining one customer is very, very important before you get into a venture. Again, the emphasizing is on one customer. You can start with one and you can slowly expand. Again, the use case which I want to say is Google. Though I may be repeating them, but still it's a wonderful use case. Google started as a search engine. It started as a search engine. But now you see what are the avenues where they are playing a role. They have an email, they have a meeting solution, they have a workspace, they have integrated all our office products. You have a Google Slide, you have a Google Doc, whatnot. So they slowly expand to other horizons. Start small, stay focused, and then you can expand. Okay, that is the takeaway from this slide. Market segmentation. I said about target customer. How should you do the market segmentation? The market, you have to segment the market on these three features. One is geographic, another one is demographic, another one is behavioral. See, when you start, you are tempted to reach out to as many customer segments as you can, but it's not the right strategy. You should stay focused. That's what we saw. See, identifying the right customer segment for your venture is important. Equally important is the ability to dissect the customer segment. How well are you going to dissect the customer segment? Doing this allow you to focus narrowly on a right segment and thus market your products to a focused audience. See, that will give you a better result. So market segmentation நீங்க என்ன பார்க்கணும் அப்படின்னா geographic, demographic and behavioral. இது மூணு நம்ம we should look into it. What is this geographic? I need not to explain. Where are you going to position yourself? Whether are you going to work in the region? Which region are you going to play? Are you going to work in the city, urban, rural, semi-urban? That you have to fix. Which city are you going to play a role? Because something which works in one place may not work in another place, right? Selling a Rasagulla may not be a good idea in Chennai. Whereas selling selling a Pani Puri may be a universal solution. But Rasagulla or selling a sweet in a street shop may not be a feasible idea. So like that, you have to position yourself. Earlier also we saw the case of urban club may not work out in a rural area. Likewise, demographic. What is the demographic features of your customers? Their age, their family size, gender, income, occupation, and education. I'll say a very simple use case. You know Swiggy. To whom can we target Swiggy? Swiggy can be targeted towards working professionals, right? Swiggy, see, now it would have been extended to other sectors also, but if you primarily see, Swiggy was banking on the people banking on the couples where both were working professionals. That's where Grofers or Swiggy started their platform. But now they have extended, they have moved on. Now Swiggy Insta is there where they will also deliver you groceries within 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. So you have to understand the demographic of your target audience. Then behavioral aspect. Some people will be oriented towards benefits. You again take a sample case of Swiggy, where in the early days of Swiggy, you would have got a lot of offers. Now you see they slowly drain it out. That's the case with Amazon also. If you look at the earlier days of Amazon, you would have got a lot of offers from Amazon. Now you see they all will be charging you. And even to that matters, Swiggy, if you buy a masala dosa in Swiggy, is costlier than going to the hotel and having a masala dosa. That's the reality. So slowly they will make you to use this product, and they will bank on your bank on your weakness or laziness of the market segment, and then they try to push the products. So this is how the market segmentation need to be done. Target customer, again, you should state what is the clear benefit to the customer and how are you superior or differentiated from the existing customers, and how large is your segment. For example, I say I'm going to manufacture a pen. What is the segment? Which segment am I going to play with? So manufacturing a pen, any individual after 5 years may be user of the pen. So I need to look at the entire population. I need to drill down. So how many of them may be using pen on a daily basis? Okay, out of total Indian population, let's assume 50% of them will be using pen. Out of that 50, how many of them will be using it on a day-to-day basis? Okay, if they are going to use it on day-to-day basis, how many pen will they purchase in a per month or per year or per week? That you have to identify. Then you should see out of that entire market, how much shall I target first? You cannot cover the entire market at the first stretch. You have to go incrementally. So you should fix, you are going to target 1%, 2% or 3%, 5%, and so on. Are you going fast? And is it horizontal integration? Horizontal integration extending your services to another sectors. See, Ola Cabs now, they also started delivering your courier. That's a horizontal integration. Focus on value proposition. Again and again, I underline this fact. What is the value proposition you are bringing in your company? That need to be answered. See, market sizing, this approach, I am not going deep. I'll say you, there are two types of market sizing available. One is top down. Top down, as I have given example, AC market. How many household homes are available in India with certain amount of income? With respect to that income group, how many people will buy AC? Okay, if how many, let's say some X amount of people are buying AC, when is the time when they will change the AC, or when is the time when they will go for servicing of their AC? You have to go down from top to down. Bottom up is, imagine a burger outlets. In one particular outlet per day, 10 burgers are sold. So then you should imagine, in a space of 1 kilometer, if I place another outlet, how many burgers will be sold, and accordingly you should plan how many burgers you should produce on a given day. That is what we call it as a bottom up approach. The top down is about broad market to target market. Bottom up approach is store sales to total market sales. Analyzing the environment, you should also analyze your environmental factors. See, demographic factors, again, it deals with humans. It talks about study of human beings, the people living in that area, their age, job, income, their spending habits, and so on. And see, if you consider, in India, 50% of the population is below the age of 25, which gives you the chance to start something focusing on youth-centric products. So this is some takeaway which we can take out of this environmental factors. Technological factor, again, I need not to say mobile phones. They say every 10th mobile is shipped to India. 10 mobile தயாரிச்சாங்கன்னா அந்த 10வது mobile is coming to India. So 1 out of 10 is coming to India. So that such voluminous is the mobile market in India. We can focus on it. Socio-cultural factors. You should also consider the socio-cultural factors. There was one website. They developed a website for people who got divorced. Okay, but that did not work out in our culture. People will never come forward and say that they are a divorcee. Again, this is subject to argument, but I'm trying to say in a business perspective, that was not a successful venture. They thought that people will come forward and they will express. No, we never do that. In our culture, at least, we never do that. So you should also consider socio-cultural factors. Economic factors. What is the GDP? What is the interest rate? What is the inflation value? Whether people have the power to buy an item or not. All these things you need to take into account. Political and legal factors play a very, very, very important role. Usually in the startup arena, we give least preference to this political and legal factors. But in reality, political and legal factors play a very, very monumental role in success of a startups. Whether the government is encouraging the startups, whether the taxation system are supporting the startups, we should have a mere awareness about what are the government schemes available, what is the taxation policy, whether government is focusing on a particular area. For say, this year they may say that they have allocated some 1,000 crores fund for improvising technological intervention in agriculture. You should follow that. If you place your startup in that, aligned to that idea, then there is a likely chance that you may get support from the government. Again, opening a bookstore. Here you see, I listed out some environmental factor. Here I have done, this is an exercise which you can go through. What are the factors which get satisfied? Demographic factors get satisfied. Technological factors, see, I'm talking about opening a normal bookstore. So technological factor may not play a very viable role because we may face a very stiff competition from Kindle, Amazon, eBay, and other online platforms also. Socio-cultural factors, it's very rare that people come to shops and buy books. That habit has gone down. They are now dependent more on digital gadgets to read their books. Economic factor, yes, the habit of buying books have increased. If you look at the book exhibition which we have annually in our Nandanam YMCA, you see the turnover is increasing every year. BAPSI comes up and they say that the number of books which purchased every year keeps rising. So the economical factor is advantageous for us. Political and legal factor, yes, government always supports selling of books. They don't, they don't stop, and they also have idea of expanding library. No, now like Anna Nulagam in Chennai, they are also planning to expand in Madurai. So, we can get a hint that this government may also purchase books for the libraries. So, industry analysis, again, I need not to repeat, economic, political, and market factor. This, the management people may be aware of this. Michael Porter's 5 principle: threat of entry, buyer power, supplier power, threat of substitute, competitive rivalry. So all these things we should keep in mind when you go for a startup. What is the threat of entry? For say, if you take coal mines, it's not so easy to start a coal mine in India. You have a lot of entry barriers. Buyer power, you should also look at who is going to be your buyer and what is his power, whether he can afford this or not. Supplier power, okay, you have developed an IoT product which could cater to a healthcare application. You would have done to the level of prototype. Do you have the capacity to multiply and supply it in the market? Is the whether the raw materials are available in sufficient, whether you have a workforce to execute that you have to see, whether you have a proper distribution channel, whether you have a skilled workers to work on that idea. All those factors you have to see in the supplier power. Threat of substitutes, you should always look at threat of substitutes. Who are all the players who are already in the market? See, for example, today I say that I'm going to launch a e-commerce site opposite to Amazon. Okay, I may be ambitious, the idea may be good, still I may claim that I have a market, but with whom am I competing? Do I have the power to compete with Amazon? Do I have the strategy? Do I have the value proposition to compete with them? That you have to introspect, and then we have to come up. Competitive rivalry, yes, sometimes the competitive rivalry, not sometimes, always there will be a competitive rivalry. You should start as early as possible. You should not keep on, you should not keep on playing with your idea for a long time, get into action. And the competitive analysis, proprietary elements like trade secrets, patents, it's not patents, it's patents, sorry. Superior and organizational capabilities, business model differentiation, business with network effects, all these things we need to develop. So now we saw what are the things we need to work with idea. Once you get an idea, you should identify whether is it a real problem. Then you should see to whom are you going to solve it, and to do this, we have seen a lot of factors which we need to keep in mind. That is with respect to idea. We saw what is idea, how idea could be generated, how you should assess your idea, and how you should validate your idea. Now we are going to the next stage, that is prototype. Okay, you got an idea, now you are going to the stage of prototype. What are the different ways you can come up with the prototype? You should understand the need of prototype. Prototype are going to be it's going to be your identity when you reach out to the market. Okay, see, ஒரு விஷயம் நல்லா தெரிஞ்சுங்க, நீங்க ஸ்டார்ட்அப் ஆரம்பிச்சு ஐடியா ஜெனரேஷன்லாம் முடிக்கிற வரைக்கும் you will be with the I'll talk about it later. You will be with the incubation, pre-incubation and incubation stage. When you come to the prototype is the exit of your incubation stage. Actually, technically speaking, when you have a prototype, now you are ready to hit the market. Okay, what should you do with prototype? There are 2 types. One we call it as a minimum viable product. Short, they will call it as MVP. MVP edukku appadina, that is the proof that you are able to execute your idea. It is a proof, standing proof that you have realized your idea. That is what we call it as a minimum viable product. That minimum viable product may differ from context to context. For example, if you are into manufacturing unit, you will have a product, miniature of your product. If you are into software side, you will have a working model where user can log in and they can play with it. And if you are for say if you are working on IoT product, you can show them like it need not be a fabricated one, but with the wires and boards, you can show them like how to execute a particular process. So this is MVP. Nowadays they are also using another term called minimum usable prototype. They are going one step ahead. It's not only viable product, it should be an usable product. இப்போ எனக்கு வந்து நீங்க ஒரு ப்ரோட்டோடைப் கொடுக்குறீங்க. See, if you consider me as a client. You have developed a healthcare product to cater my sleep quality. ஓகே, நான் எவ்வளவு நல்லா தூங்குறேங்கிறதுக்கு நீங்க ஒரு வாட்சோ இல்லை ஏதோ ஒன்று மேனுஃபேக்சர் பண்ணிட்டீங்க. வாட் யூ ஷுட் டூ, initially you should you should reach out to the early adopters. They call them as early adopters. Early adopters தான் வந்து எப்பயுமே curiosity-ஓட they will purchase new things. So you have to identify them and you have to give them for free to do an analysis. So that's how you have to validate your prototype. Test the values along with the features. Prototype shall be physical or non-physical. That's what I said. So see, the last one is the one which summarizes your journey. From idea, you go to prototype. From prototype, you go to product. From product, you go to business. And finally, you become enterprise. This is the prototype. And again, I need not to repeat that jargon. Right? Are you producing the right prototype? Are you producing the prototype right? These two factors you should always keep in mind. See, again, coming to the crux of, coming to the important aspect of our now you have got a prototype. Earlier to that, when you have a valid idea, even before going to the prototype, you should register your company. Okay, how can you register your company? Again, safeguarding your idea. I am not touching the aspect of intellectual property here. I hope we had a lot of sessions about intellectual property and what are the different types and how to safeguard and all those things. IP need to be discussed in a different dimension here, but I'm not touching it. For example, being a founder of the company, in what way you are going to transfer the IP rights to the company? Okay, those things are it involves a lot of contract and legal structure. Let's not touch about it. Let's not touch it as of now. I'm going to a generic viewpoint where the legal structure. What I'm talking here is what type of company you should venture into. Okay. So you can see here ambiguity in terms of agreement, non-disclosure of private policies, appointment of impact legal counsel, formation of, you should not end up in forming a wrong entity. That's very, very, very important. Okay. How can you categorize that? You have to select your criteria of entry. Your company's tax liability, your personal liability, how comfortable you are in raising funds, what level of record keeping you can afford to, what cost you are ready to invest, and finally, what is the business goal of, what is your business goal? Are you planning for scaling up, or are you planning for diversifying them, or are you going to stop only with the, are you going to get satisfied only by launching the company? By determining all these factors, you should choose the right legal structure. What are they? The first one is sole proprietorship. Here, from the name itself, we can understand single man company. Okay, you can be the only owner. You are vested with all the power to take decision, very least compliance requirements, unlimited personal liability, lack of credibility among investors. This is a very, very important point you should keep in mind. When you are a sole proprietor, it is very hard for you to get it's very hard for you to attract the investor towards your company. Okay, so keep that in mind. But if you feel like you can withstand, you can sustain your company with your own funds, you may not be seeking the external investors for external investors help in enriching your company, then you can go for it. There is no provision to add partners, and this have some legal complications. For say after your period, what will happen to the company? That those things are all tightly coupled. Legal structure is there. You have to follow that. You don't have much choice. General partnership, low cost entity formation. It's very easy. Profit sharing ratio. You should say what is the profit sharing ratio between the partners. You should prepare a partnership deed and unlimited personal liability. Maximum 20 partners, but minimum you should have 2 partners. Example, most of the law firms அந்த லா ஃபைன்ஸ்லாம் இருக்கு இல்லையா, முக்கியமான அந்த பெரிய லாயர்ஸ்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா லா ஃபைன்ஸ் வச்சிருப்பாங்க. They all operate in this under the category of general partnership. Private limited, இது ரெண்டு மட்டும் பார்த்துங்க. These two are very, very important for us. Private limited தான் வந்து இந்தியாவில் from traditionally we used to follow private limited, but this limited liability partnership is subsection of a private limited technically, but it is also a separate section that was inherited from the West. US and UK to promote the entrepreneurship, they came up with the limited liability partnership, which we also have inherited in the recent time. Private limited it also consists of a limited liability. It's good for scalability. I mean, if you have a plan to scale, then you can bank on this. It can have multiple shareholders. It's good for raising funds. You have a separate legal existence. High compliance requirements. If the compliance requirements will be bit high than LLP, you enjoy some few tax advantages, and maximum you can have up to 200, minimum 2. Again, all these partnership categories, minimum you should have 2. Then comes the limited liability partnership. We shortly call it as a LLP. Even Google was started as a LLP. You can see Google அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா LLC போட்டிருப்பாங்க. They used to call it as limited liability company. So limited liability partnership is, you have tax benefits, superior tax advantages there with the LLP, fewer complaints even compared to private limited, moderate compliance requirements, and if you don't exceed 20 lakhs of profit, you need not to file any returns. So the documentation and the finance part are even to that matter. You need not to get endorsed by the auditor for your account statement if you are making a profit less than 20 lakhs per annum. That is per financial year. So that is the advantage which you can enjoy with the LLP. What are the registration process? For sole proprietorship, you need not have any formal registration. You can decide the entity name, you can open a bank account, you can go on with it. Okay. So you can even start the business on your personal name. I mean, sole proprietorship is not a separate legal entity, and which brings it will also raise the unlimited liability. So if you open a bank account, that's it. You can start. So you can start working on a sole proprietorship model. For general partnership, you have to have a name, and you should say what is the capital contribution ratio for, 2 partners are contributing, and you should also say what is the profit sharing ratio, and partnership deed should be there in place, and deed will include duties and powers of each partner, and what is the nature and place of business. All these things will be very clearly defined in the general partnership. For private limited, you have to acquire a director identification number, that is, we call it as a DIN. Then you have to have digital signature certificate. Then you will have 2 documents. Memorandum of agreement and article of agreement. These 2 documents you need to prepare. And இப்போ earlier பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு 10 days back வந்து ஒரு டைரக்டரோட டேட்டா மட்டும் ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணா போதும். For example, if you are going with 2 directors, earlier before 10 days the case was only one director needs to give all his details and his or her details, and then the company will be registered. Now they have changed the company. They have changed the section. Now, if 2 of you are going to act as a director of the company, both of you should get DIN number, both of you should have a DSC, and you should also have this MOA and AOA in place. You will be submitting all these things. See, இதெல்லாமே எங்க சார் பண்ணுவோம்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா mca.gov.in, Ministry of Corporate Affairs.gov.in ல போயிட்டு you can do. These are all the entity registration process. Getting a DIN, getting a DSC, then you have to give the name. That name will be there, available there in the website, and they will see whether someone is already having it, or at least 20 days will take place. 20 days they will take to finalize the name. But you need not to wait until your name gets finalized. You can carry out with your other process. So you have to draft an agreement, you have to sign, and then once everything is uploaded in the online, the registration gets over. Finally, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs will give you a certificate, and that certificate you will carry to, you cannot immediately start the business once you get the certificate. That is only the company registration certificate. After that, they will ask you to submit a Form 2, Form 3. Form 2 la enna kepanga, they will ask you how much are you planning to invest. That investment, again, you need not to worry. It can vary from even 500 to 50 lakhs or 50 crores. The minimum can be even 100 rupees or 500 rupees. They don't have any minimum slab for it, but you should show that you have invested something. But in a longer run, if you want to fetch investors' confidence, then you should have invested at least a size of money. I don't want to say what is the ideal money, that depends on your business idea. But நீங்க investors உடைய confidence gain பண்ணனும் அப்படினா, first of all, you should have shown confidence in your idea. So உங்க investment is proportional to the confidence you possess with that idea. I leave it to you. So you should invest something. After 1 month, after getting the certificate, it will take at least 1 month for you to launch your operations. This is how LLP operations are carried out. and you need not to submit any return. You have to file one return per annum. That you need not even get GST number unless and until the vendor insists you to get. If, for example, you are interacting with the vendor A. Vendor A is having a GST number and he is compelled to transact only with the people who have GST number. Now you have to get a GST number. But private limited law, you have to definitely get a GST number. But in LLP, it's optional. It depends again on what is the transaction which you are going to make on a financial year. Coming to the funding stages. See, we have seen what is the idea process, then we saw prototype development. Till prototype development, you will not get any external funding. Again, I emphasize this, again, I underline my statement. Till prototype development, you may not get external funding. Projects execute. It can be handled only through government grants or bootstrapping. What is bootstrapping is? Bootstrapping is investing your own money. Or you have a wonderful chance of tapping the government grants. From the name itself, you can understand grant, you need not to return anything. It's more like getting a fund for our research projects. DST fund project government grants, you need not to return any single penny. But for your information, government also has a funding scheme. If they give you money in the name of funding, then they may ask you some equity. But if they give you in the name of grant, they will not ask you any equity. I'll come to it. So what are the schemes available? Till ideation and pre-seed stage, you have to self-finance, or you can seek from your friends and family. If they are very supportive, you can get from them. And business plan and pitching events, mostly you cannot approach pitching events in your idea. Pitching event na onnu illinga. The event where you go and ask money from the investor. That is the pitching event. Validation on seed stage. See, here where the incubators can play a role. There are two types of funding schemes available in the government. One, which will be directly routed to you. I'll show it in the next slides. One, directly routed to the startups. Second type of funding, which will be given to the incubators. In turn, incubators will be able to distribute it to the startups. For example, a person A is registering his incubating his company with SSN Incubation Foundation. What we can do is, if he doesn't get money as a startup, if SSN Incubation Foundation has got a money from the government through some scheme, SSN Incubation Foundation can fund it. That is what, these are all the two ways of getting the seed money when you are in the ideation or pre-ideation stage. Okay, these are charts. Validation stage when you have a prototype in your hand, you come to the stage of validation. Okay, what is that stage? What can we do? There also you can approach the incubators. Incubators have money. They have different schemes. Different schemes are available for incubators. Okay, adla oru scheme da Atal incubation. You would have heard about Atal incubation. If the incubator is recognized by the government for Atal, they have money to the tune of 5 crores, which they can distribute to the respective incubatees. Other government loan schemes are available. We can also approach the government loan schemes like NABARD, SIDBI, all these banks will give you. There are some dedicated banks which give loan for these kind of startups. To name few, I have also listed them in the slides. SBI Incube, RBI has a scheme, and HDFC Smartup. These are all. SBI Incube is the first ever Indian bank dedicatedly launched to fund the startups. SBI Incube வந்து Bangalore தான் இருக்கு, சென்னையில இல்ல. If you go there, and the normal people ku loan தர மாட்டாங்க. That bank is dedicated to give loan for the startups. Okay, but when banks give loan, you have to undergo the process of the bank, abide by the norms and regulations of the bank. They will not give you as a grant. It is a loan. Again, I mentioned it is a loan. Sometimes they may also take equity from you. Okay, it also happened in the recent time. SBI Incube they funded a company and they also took equity from them. Equity na onnu illinga, taking share from your company. Ninga 100%, ipo ninga 100 rupees unga company oda investment abdina, for example na வந்து 10 rupees உங்களுக்கு கொடுக்கிறேன் அப்படினா 10% உங்களுக்கு ஷேர் எடுக்கிறேன் அப்படினா I hold 10% of your company's wealth. When your company gets multiplied into 1000 rupees abdina, my 10% value will become 100. If your company is making 1 lakh profit abdina, my 10% equity goes up to 10,000. If you are touching 1 crore mark abdina, my equity grows up to 10 lakh. ஓகே, ஸோ நான் உங்களுக்கு ஃபர்தரா இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுவேன், அதுக்கு பதிலாக 10% உங்க கம்பெனிலேருந்து ஷேர் நான் வாங்கிக்கிறேன், அவ்வளவுதான். தட் இஸ் வாட் ஈக்விட்டி இஸ் ஆல் அபவுட். Angel investors are nothing but they are the individual people who have money and who have interest to invest in the startups. அவ்வளவுதான். But in reality, angel investors don't act as individuals. In reality, marketல போய் பாத்தீங்கன்னா there are lot of angel investors forums available. To name few, Chennai Angels Network is there, Bangalore Angels Network is there, Native Lead is an angel network which is placed in Madurai. Madurai is our place. So these are all the angel investors group. If you go there, they work as an office. Okay, அவங்க வந்து ஒரு society மாதிரி they work. You have to go there and you have to present your idea. If it is screened and if you are allowed to present, if they are interested, they will invest money in your company. So the major difference is when you have a prototype and if you have already hit the market, then the chances of angel investors coming to your company or investing in your company is bit high. Okay, நீங்க வெறும் ஐடியா மட்டும் தான் நான் வச்சிருக்கேன், எனக்கு நீங்க பணம் கொடுத்தாதான் நான் அதை பண்ணுவேன் அப்படின்னா angel investors may not be interested. And crowdfunding is also recently picking up. You can also seek crowdfunding. Sometimes crowdfunding works, sometimes you have to be very careful in the legal structures while you are collecting money from the crowd. Early traction, when you have shown that you are growing in the market, then you can go for Series A funding. Then we have Series B funding. Series A, Series B la enna pathina, that's what I said. SBI Incube, RBL India Startup Club, HDFC Startup. Venture capital na enna ketingna, the difference between angel investor and venture capital is not individual investing in money. For example, there may be one VC, venture capital, where some 10 or 15 corporates would have invested. And there will be one nominee who will be handling those funds. So he is that organization or that company, that forum is called as a venture capital. Angel investors ingiradhu individuals investing the money, but in reality they don't act as an individual, they act as a group. But venture capital ingiradhu in the structure itself, it is not individual. It is not even individuals, it is corporates, it's companies. For example, Ratan Tata through TCS he would have given some money. Infosys Narayana Murthy would have given some money. Some Facebook Mark Zuckerberg would have given money. All those things will be there with the venture capital. Now there will be one active representative from that venture capital. He will analyze your business idea, he will see what you have done in the market, then they will further invest. When they invest, they will also take some equity from you. So now you clearly understood. உங்களுடைய prototype stage la angel investors will come in. Not only in prototype, you should have gone to the early market stage. Technically it is called early market stage. You should show them that you have some customers. So to broaden your market, you are going to the angel investors. Venture capital comes into picture when you are already successfully operating in the market. Appada venture capitalist will come into your picture. That we call it as a Series A and Series B funding. This is how the funding goes. இதுக்கப்புறம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா you will be listed in the IPO, and then you will be moving to the stock exchange, and then you become an enterprise, and then you become a unicorn. Unicorn na a company which has $1 billion of worth. That is what we call it as a unicorn. Recently, I think Zomato, 2 or 3 companies they moved into the category of unicorns. Very important. What are the government funding schemes available? With respect to Tamil Nadu government, under Entrepreneurship Development Innovation Institute, they have a voucher program concept. Innovation Voucher A program, Innovation Voucher B program. Innovation Voucher A program, this program as a startup you are eligible. Ana veru startup ah poga mudiyadu, you have to go through one knowledge partner. That knowledge partner can be a SSN College of Engineering or SSN Incubation Foundation. For example, if as a Balaji I would have started a startup, I want to apply for Innovation Voucher program abdina, I should take help from my colleagues. For say I can take Chitra madam as a knowledge partner from SSN College of Engineering, and I can apply for this program. Okay, what is that Innovation Voucher A and Voucher B? Voucher A is for design. You need not to even have a prototype. If you have a design idea, you can pitch for 2 lakhs. நீங்க அந்த டிசைன் ஐடியாக்கு 2 lakhs pitch பண்ணி வாங்கிடுவீங்க. அது எப்படி வரும்னா, இப்போ நான் சொன்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள்ல it will be given to Chitra ma'am. From Chitra ma'am it will come to me. That's how knowledge partner, through knowledge partner it will come to us. Okay, this can be applicable for both faculty startups and student startups. For design you have got a money to the tune of 2 lakhs. If you want to, okay, you have completed the design. After completing that, you can also again and go and approach them for Innovation Voucher Program B, where you will be funded up to the level of 5 lakhs. So again, don't mistake. Voucher A க்கு தான் போயிட்டு தான் B க்கு போகணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. There is no hierarchy. You can directly target A or B, whichever is feasible. If you are in the stage of B, the B outcome should be POC. Okay, proof of concept. You should develop some proof of concept if you are targeting voucher B. This is with respect to Tamil Nadu government. And very recently, Tamil Nadu TANSIM, under TANSIM, they gave TANSEED money up to 10 lakh for any startups where you are not supposed to return even a single penny. But unfortunately, we didn't have any startups here, suitable startups, so we didn't go for it. If you have a startup, you can also follow TANSIM. TANSIM always gives you some scheme. TANSEED னு ஒரு scheme கொடுத்தாங்க. 10 lakhs was given to the company. Apply பண்ணா போதும், it was given. And you all know, again, you would have heard this from, you would have heard this, Nidhi Prayas, Nidhi Prism. These are all, if you want to know the detail about Nidhi Prayas and Nidhi, I have given the websites here. See, these may not be, Nidhi Prayas or Nidhi Prism, now they are not active. I agree, now they are not active, but they are not like research calls. Once in a year, the call may be 2 months or 3 months. Deadline also will be very short. And please keep one thing in mind, you can apply for multiple schemes. For example, a startup A has got an innovation voucher program from Tamil Nadu government. It doesn't mean that they need not to apply for Nidhi Prism or Nidhi Prayas. You can very well apply. There is no restriction. இப்போ ஒரு டைம் ரிஜெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க, நான் ரெண்டாவது தடவை அப்ளை பண்ணலாம். There is no rejection. There is no such conditions here. So you can tap this opportunity. But all these things, Nidhi Prayas, Nidhi Prism, are oriented towards startups. And again, Birak, in the link, on the blue link, you can also check till March 31st, you have a time. People who are particularly into healthcare products and those who are interested in healthcare, coming up with some healthcare interventions, you can look into it. There are a lot of scope for Birak call for. Deadline is March 31st. If you have any idea, you can apply. See, some cases, Birak is a one special case where you need not to have a startup. You can also apply as an individual, then you can convert. If that idea is validated and accepted by Birak, you will be funded. Then you can also start a company. So that is the special scheme about Birak. Birakல போய் நீங்க பாருங்க, இந்த லிங்கை வந்து செக் பண்ணி பாருங்க. 31st வரைக்கும் டைம் இருக்கு. நீங்க ஸ்டார்ட் அப் ஆரம்பிச்சுட்டு தான் Birak அப்ளை பண்ணணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. As an individual, you can apply. If your idea is validated, then you can go for a startup. Tide also under the Ministry of Electronics Information Technology. Tide is a scheme where this Tide, I'm not talking about DST Tide. This Tide is completely oriented towards startup. This also call for will come. Now, right now it is not active. Call for will come. You can always keep tracking it. Once you have a startup, you can also apply under it. They may also have a theme. Over time, they may give a theme of agricultural technology. Sometimes they may give a theme of healthcare, or sometimes they may give a theme of quantum computing. Whatever is the theme under which you feel like your company falls, you can apply for it. Women Entrepreneur Program is a very special scheme which is part of this Startup India. They encourage women entrepreneurs to come into the foray of this startup culture. So they devise lot of schemes for them alone. This also, right now there are no active schemes. Earlier it was there. You can also cross check this website. And see, there are special registrations. So far we saw the legal registrations, private limited, public limited, LLP எல்லாம் பார்த்தோம். That is MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs கீழ நம்ம register பண்றது. If you want to register your company under MSME அப்படின்னா, if you are looking for a bigger capital at the initial stage itself, then I recommend you to go for MSME. I'm not giving more details here. MSME, the range, for example, அதுல வந்து you know what is the expansion of MSME. Micro, small, medium enterprises. Micro na you can go up to 25 lakhs, and small na you can go up to 5 crores. Medium na you can go up to 10 crores. For example, I'm saying. So you can elevate the capital fund seeking through MSME. நீங்க இந்த manufacturing side, you need to invest on a machine அப்படின்னா MSME க்கு கீழே போனீங்கன்னா you have a good chance. In that also they have a special scheme for women. It is called Udayam Sakhi. If you register your company under Udayam Sakhi, there are lot of schemes available. One sample scheme is you will get 40% of reduction in your EB bill in the monthly basis. So apart from that, Startup India seed fund scheme was very recently announced, but this is oriented, this scheme is oriented towards both incubator and startup. Both of them can compete for this scheme. This City Innovation Exchange, again, you are planning for a startup. எனக்கு என்ன பண்ணணும்னு எனக்கு தெரியல, I need some idea அப்படின்னா, you can refer this. City Innovation Exchange is the platform where all smart city problems are posted in the portal. You can register through your email ID. You can explore. If you find you have a solution, see, already some companies would have pitched for it. ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம்க்கு ஆல்ரெடி ஒரு 3 கம்பெனி அவங்களுடைய இதை போட்டிருப்பாங்க. You cannot open it, it's closed. If you feel like you have a better solution, you can also upload the document there. If it is valid, if it is validated, and if your idea seems to be smart, they will choose and they will fund you. Technology Development Fund is completely oriented towards DRDO. DRDO policy-wise has very clearly said the Technological Development Fund can be taken up or can be availed only by the startups. So as an individual, you cannot apply for any of this Technology Development Fund. It comes under the Ministry of Defense. If you have a startup, you can apply as a startup. Though you are a faculty, you can apply as a startup. And if you are, I mean, the problem statements are already available in the website. It will be open throughout the year. எதெல்லாம் இன்னும் ஓப்பனா இருக்கு, எதெல்லாம் க்ளோஸ் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னு they will mention very clearly in the website. நீங்க இந்த வெப்சைட் போய் பாருங்க, the problem statements are open. Particularly department wise, they have categorized and they have posted the problems. Computer science na ஒன்னு போட்டிருப்பாங்க, மெக்கானிக்கல் na ஒன்னு போட்டிருப்பாங்க, EC na ஒன்னு போட்டிருப்பாங்க. Likewise, you can also see. Say, okay, these are all government schemes. What are the other ways of tapping the fund? CSR fund. I know HCL also contributes in the CSR. Through CSR, we can also, I hope in our college itself, we did something for CSR. I'm not sure, but we are tapping it. We also worked in Reddington CSR through training and other thing. We also worked in Reddington CSR through our college. But what I'm saying is, the Titan, you can note down this Titan website. This is already an open call. You can look into their website. They have given an open contest. If you have a solution for that, you can also try. It's more like a hackathon. நீங்க அதை பண்ணீங்கன்னா you will be eligible to get the funding. So CSR Titan Design Impact Movement is open. You can also check the website and you can find the problems. Vedanta Spark is again a very big company. They don't act independently. They act along with the Forge Accelerator, which is based in Coimbatore. They invest to the tune of 50 crores. Or 50 crores invest பண்ணுவாங்க. They will again give you the problem statement. If you have a knowledge to solve that problem statement through your startup, you can pitch for it. You will readily getting the money from the Vedanta Spark through Forge. LG also operates in coherence with VIT Business Incubator. That calls all are also, see, nothing stops you. When you have a startup, you can also pitch for competitions launched by other college incubators also. Nothing stops you that you should not apply there. If there is an opportunity, you can apply, and if you win, it's good for you. So LG very closely operate with VIT Incubator. They're also now it's closed. Earlier they had an open forum. Other than this, Citibank, TCS, all these people, they also utilize CSR funds of their company in funding the startups. For your information, Indian government has said that 2% of the CSR funding can be used for the promotion of the startups and incubators with respect to corporate governance. I'm not going to take much time here. When you are, I hope there will be some sessions for you in the business plan. So business plan is something, documentation where you need to prepare. When you have an idea of launching a business, you should prepare this business plan. What is it? Basically, it is nothing but a document which states about what is your plan towards executing your business. What are the common myths? You should not think that, why do I need a business plan, sir? Na college professor, sir, why should I write a business plan? No. எனக்கு எல்லாமே என்கிட்ட ஹெட்ல இருக்கு. I need not to write. No. These are all some myths. Business plans are for big companies that hire MBAs. Though you are a very small, meager startup, go for a business plan. I don't have time to write any plan. In any case, who is going to read the business plan? Have all successful entrepreneurs written one? Yes, the survey says that all successful entrepreneurs have written a business plan. See, please keep one thing in mind. This is your brainchild. How are you going to document your brainchild? You should document them. Then only it will have some value. Why business plan? It will give you when you write down, it will consist of what are the paths to achieve the goals, how should you reinforce your strategies, what is how to track your performance, how to manage the responsibilities, what is going to be your team, and how are you going to manage the responsibilities, how are you going to manage the resource. All those things will be listed down in your business plan. And for whom are you going to write the business plan? Sir, எதுக்கு எழுதணும் இதெல்லாம் தேவையில்லாத வேலை அப்படின்னு நீங்க நினைச்சீங்கன்னா, in each and every process of your business journey, you will depend on your business plan. You will, when you want to put forward your idea, for example, tomorrow the incubation will ask you what is your business plan. When you are coming and approaching the incubation, they will immediately, any incubation, they will immediately ask you what is your business plan. You have to submit the document. By going through the business plan, they will come to know what is your idea, how interested are you, how are you positioned with respect to the existing market. All those informations will be available, including your financial and marketing plan. I'll say that. So when you are approaching a bank for loan, they will ask you business plan. When you are approaching any angel investor, you should give them a business plan. So when, even to that matter, when you want to hire a key resource for your company, you should have a business plan. So the key resource, if he is already a established personnel in the competitor company, you want to hire him. If you show your business plan, he may be impressed and he may join you. To that extent, business plan plays a very pivotal role in your business or entrepreneurial journey. Elements of business plan: it should have a vision and goal. It should have a company description. You should have done industry analysis. That's what we saw earlier. Competitive analysis. This also we saw. Management team. Who is going to be your management team? If you have a diversified management team, it's always healthy. Operational plan. How are you going to execute your operations? What is the marketing plan? Are you going to go in online marketing, or are you going to go to media, or what is going to be your pricing method? What is the break-even analysis which you are going to make? Financial plan, balance sheet, profit loss statement. இதெல்லாம் பண்ணுமான்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, yes, you have to do, not to the extent of expert in a commerce or accounts. அந்த அளவுக்கு தேவையில்லை, but you should have a fair idea of what is the profit and loss statement, what is the capital investment you require to launch your business, what will be your monthly burn, that is what will be your monthly expenses. All these things you should have at least a fair idea. அதெல்லாம் we should write down. Risk and contingencies. What are the risks involved? What will happen if my plan A fails? What should I do? Plan B or plan C? You should list out that also. And you should also have appendices where you can add these things: market research, location, and so on. And again, general structure is, it should be in a simple language. You can use infographics, keep the font size as 12, and see to that it is easy for readers to read. And very importantly, emphasize your value proposition, how you are different from the competitors. Business pitch, இது எங்க வரும் அப்படின்னா, I said about angel investors, I said about venture capitalists. To when you are going to meet them, they will ask you to present your idea. That is what is called as a pitch. We call it as, there are a lot of pitches available: idea pitch, elevator pitch, business pitch, investors pitch, and so on. Ultimately, the objective is, when you meet anybody who is ready to invest, you should have some kind of presentation. Presentation, don't think that you have to give it in a, you can use any infographic. It can be slides, keynote, or Prezi, whatever be the mode of presentation. But this 10, 20, 30 formula you should follow. 10 slides, 20 minutes, 30 should be the font size. Okay, and most importantly, இதுவே ஒரு பெரிய டாபிக். I'll say what is very important here. You should say your entire business idea in the form of a story. You should say what is the problem you faced and what is the solution you are proposing. There are some pitches, we call it as a 1 minute pitch. That's what I have shown here. 1 minute pitches, they will give you only 1 minute to present. You have to impress them. What is the problem? How are you addressing it? What is the outcome? That's all. You can see there, I have given you some sample of 1 minute pitch. You can also see the website from where I have taken it. You can also refer there. For business plan also, you can refer a lot of sample business plans are there. After the session, for the attendees, if you are interested, I'll share you some sample business plan. Otherwise, you can also check Palo Alto website, where they have posted some 50 business plans for your reference. That's it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. And finally, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. I know I have been talking, but this is the general saying of Walt Disney. So I thank the IAC team once again for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And that's it. That's all I have from my side. If you have any queries, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, interesting. Just like I think we have been talking a lot, as you rightly said in the last slide, When you go for car driving, they don't teach us how to drive. Then they will go ahead. So that's what we are now going to do. Plunging people into starting the company first. So thanks for a lot of people who came forward. We'll quickly get into it. There are a lot of guys interested as well as experienced in this area. So we'll first go through the registration, whoever is interested. Then there are a lot of training modules available. The only change is, முன்னாடிலாம் இண்டிவிஜுவலா இருந்து நம்ம நிறைய ப்ராஜெக்ட் அப்ளை பண்ண முடிஞ்சது. இப்போ வந்து ஸ்டார்ட் அப்பா இருந்தாதான் you will get some fundingங்கிற மாதிரி கவர்மெண்டோட ஸ்கீமே நிறைய மாறிடுச்சு. So therefore, let us look at startup and then possible ways to go for funding. Again, there are 2-3 ways. One is idea மட்டும்தான் இருக்குனாக்க, there is a prism scheme, schemes there which will support you for developing the idea into a product. Or if you already have a product, you want to expand it to various markets, that is a product development. Or then the third stage is market development. எதுக்கு வேணாலும் grants are available. So the moment you become a startup, we can target a lot of grant giving funds. அதை தாண்டி நம்ம 2 வருஷத்துல incubation தாண்டி போயிட்டோம்னா, then all the other jargons come in. So let's look at it. The moment you start, you'll get a lot of learning. So thanks for a lot of inputs. Any other questions or suggestions are welcome.
Balaji sir, can you share us the business plan, sample business plans?
I'll share you, madam. I'll share you.
Just one more to add. There is a program called Shark Tank. Please visit that. That's a very interesting one. It covers all the things we are talking here. Shark Tank, you just go and Google it. It will be there in the YouTube. The format or 4 investors, they will sit there and you have to go and pitch your idea. Now in a product this is my market, I want to go ahead and சொல்லுவாங்க. உடனடியா they'll give an offer. I'll give you so many lakhs, will you give me 25% equity? அந்த மாதிரி they'll டக்குன்னு கேட்பாங்க. They have to respond it quickly. So you will learn a lot of new business ideas. எதெல்லாம் வெளியில business ஐடியாவா வருது அப்படிங்கறதையும் பார்க்கலாம். And how these, which of these ideas are interesting to the angel investors-ங்கிறதும் பார்க்கலாம். It's a very interesting program. ரொம்ப காம்படிட்டிவாவும் இருக்கும். So whenever you find time, please go and look at Shark Tank.
Sony they are telecasted in Hindi, but if you want, you can YouTube.
It's available in English. English, it's available in the OTT platforms. Please look at it. Thank you.
Any other queries from the faculty side?
Okay. Because Balaji is locally available, they'll individually talk to him.
Maybe, sir.
We need not hold everyone, you can officially close.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I said the session was so interesting and so informative, and the journey, the complete journey, we understood the complete journey from idea to the level of enterprise, how to take it forward. Thank you very much, sir. And I would like to thank our SSN management for giving us support through SSN IIC cell. I would like to thank principal and vice principal for joining this session, for making this as a grand success. Thank you everyone for attending and showing interest in this particular webinar, which is the one which is totally different from our general or usual academic work. So thank you for showing interest, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.